Hello, my name is Miguel Rodriguez, and this is an executive presentation on project value delivery, strategy, and planning. On the agenda for today, we will go over project value delivery overview. These are the concepts that together create the structure of efficient project management. Then we will go over the ethical principles that align with project management. Then we will go over the lifecycle approaches. These are methodologies or approaches project managers implement based on the project type and scope. Then we'll go over tailoring, which is essentially modifying existing methodologies or creating new ones to fit the needs and expectations of stakeholders. Project selection and initiation practices, why organizations start projects and how. Work metrics, dynamics, and schedule development, so tools, team culture, and project schedule. Project budget development, how budget is created, and the tools to help track the project's process and feasibility. And lastly, we will go over assessing managing projects uncertainty and complexity. So what is project value delivery, and why is it important? According to the PMBOK guide, project value delivery is a concept that aligns with the principles of ensuring that a project achieves its intended benefits and delivers value to its stakeholders. Portfolios, programs, projects, and products are components of a value delivery system. System of value delivery works best when information and feedback is shared among all the components. And an organizational governance system is what can be implemented to help manage all these components. The organizational governance system is a framework of policies, procedures, processes, and structures through which an organization is directed and controlled. The systems establish the rules and guidelines for decision making, accountability, and performance management. It also ensures that the organization operates effectively, ethically, and that it aligns with its strategic objectives. The PMBOK guide gives 12 project management principles as a guide to provide a foundation for managing projects effectively. These principles help ensure that the projects are delivered successfully by basically aligning them with the organization goals and procedures. It helps by helping managing risks and engaging stakeholders better. Like any other profession, project managers have a code of ethics to guide them and help them hold themselves accountable. The PMI Code of Ethics and the PMBOK Guide emphasizes the ethical principles that project managers should adhere in order to ensure professionalism, integrity, and responsible behavior in their work. The PMI Code breaks down the 5 different ethical principles of vision and applicability, responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty, and the importance of the ethical principles, which involve the trust and credibility, professional integrity, conflict resolution, and legal and regulatory compliance. Now that we have a broad understanding of the project value delivery components and expectations, we can go over the different project management lifecycle methodologies. An approach or methodology is a structured framework and principles that guide the planning, execution, and completion of a project. So different methodologies are suited for different types of projects depending on factors such as project size, complexity, industry, and specific goals. And we will go over those metrics and tools that help calculate concepts like complexity later on. Project managers can use a project performance domains from the PMBOK guide to help them choose the right methodology. These are key concepts that represent a group of related activities that are vital to the success of the project. They provide a comprehensive view of project management by focusing on the outcomes and performance necessary to deliver value instead of just adhering to the processes. The 3 commonly used development approaches are the predictive, also known as traditional or waterfall approach, adaptive, also known as agile, and a hybrid approach, which is a combination of both. Predictive approach is most commonly used for smaller projects that have a step-by-step progression, like building a house. Agile approach is best suited for more complex and ambiguous projects like software development, and a hybrid approach is most appropriate when the project has mixed requirements. As mentioned earlier, there are different approaches or methodologies to effective project management depending on the type of project that you're working on. And sometimes there might need to be some changes or modifications needed to be done to a lifecycle methodology. And that is what tailoring is all about. So it's the process of adapting and customizing a project management process, methodologies, and tools to fit the specific needs and goals that is requested for a particular project. So tailoring allows the project managers to modify the project life cycles to better suit the project goals. And in order to be able to tailor a methodology, project managers need to have a clear understanding of the project scope and complexity. And a project charter is what can help get some clarity on that. A project charter is a formal document that authorizes the project and provides a clear overview of the objectives, stakeholders' expectations, and the deliverables that will be delivered. So it helps ensure that all the stakeholders understand the purpose and the direction of the project. And the level of stakeholder engagement is going to be determined by the scope of the project. The bigger the scope, the higher the level of engagement with the stakeholders. The goal is to ensure that their needs and expectations and concerns are understood and addressed from the beginning to the completion of the project. So why do organizations and businesses start projects? Projects are meant to address a need, a demand, an opportunity, or a problem. Effectively addressing the reason for the project and achieving its goals creates value for the organization. The process of selection and initiation is an approach that organizations use to decide which projects to pursue. The first step in the project selection process is to identify a potential project based on data obtained from various sources like suggestions from stakeholders and market analysis. Next, the criteria for evaluating the project like strategic alignment, financial viability, risk level, and market demands is defined. Feasibility studies are then assessed to determine if the project is worth pursuing. Potential projects are then prioritized based on how well they align with goals, potential benefits, and overall feasibility. The initiation process begins with developing a project charter that outlines the project scope. The charter, is the official document that initiates the project. Stakeholders are then identified and analyzed. The scope clearly is defined to avoid any issues in the future. Resources are then identified, initial risk assessed, a government structure established, and then lastly, funding is approved. The next element of effective project value delivery is work metrics, team dynamics, and schedule development. Team dynamics is basically the interpersonal relationships, communication methods and styles, and the collective behavior or culture within a project team or organization. Creating a good culture is a key part of delivering good value to the stakeholders because having good team dynamics and culture ensures that the members feel part of the team and therefore they have the best interests of the project in mind and will want for it to succeed. We can now look at the project schedule. The process involves creating a detailed timeline for the project with milestones and deadlines for certain tasks. Using a work breakdown structure or WBS is how project managers can decompose the work that needs to be done and when it should be completed by. Work metrics is basically the way to measure the project's process. Work metrics is the quantitative measure used to assess the aspects of project performance. So they help track in how effective the project is, and it also helps identify areas of improvement, ensuring that the project is delivering value as expected. The four measurable metrics are productivity, like task completion is a way to measure it, quality, can be measured by defect rates or customer satisfaction scores, costs, cost with cost variance estimates, etc., and time schedule, which can be measured by schedule variance, schedule performance index, etc. Creating an effective project budget is all about allocating resources wisely. So developing a budget will be easier for a smaller, less complex project with the traditional lifecycle methodology. For larger projects with a more ambiguous scope and complexity, a financial officer can be considered to join the team to better allocate those resources. A work breakdown structure is used to estimate the cost by calculating the time each task of the project will take and how many people and resources it will take to do it. The time and cost of those resources adds up to the cost estimate. Some tools and techniques to help with budget planning are vendor bid analysis, reserve analysis, and cost quality analysis. A project management information system, or PMIS, is also a great tool to help plan and monitor project activities and makes budgeting a lot easier. PMIS are also very beneficial in helping stakeholders visualize the scope and better evaluate the project's progress, and the feasibility. Excel spreadsheets are a type of PMIS, but for larger projects, a more advanced system will be needed. For example, like Oracle or Microsoft Project Server. Every project will have a level of complexity and uncertainty, and it will depend on factors such as the stakeholders' needs, the expectations, project scope, and the goals. Project managers can identify issues with the project early on. They can predict their likelihood and take steps to minimize the risk when possible and if appropriate. There are 4 ways project managers can handle the risks depending on their likelihood and severity. They can avoid them. The project might just not be worth pursuing. They can mitigate the damages by taking actions so the damage is less. Risk can also be transferred to the third party. This can be done by like buying insurance, or they can accept the risk. The project can take the hit and it can still be completed successfully. The risk mitigation plan will be helpful in eliminating or reducing potential risks. The point of the plan is to identify and analyze risks and the impact on the project, and then develop actions to manage those risks in real time. The uncertainty performance domain is a helpful guide from the PMBOK guide that addresses the activities and functions associated with risk. So by applying the domains, it gives a better awareness of the project's environment. Understanding and managing the complexity of a project is knowing how to identify any issues that could derail the project and utilizing the right tools to assess the risk. The bigger the project scope, the team ambition and ambiguity, the more complex it becomes and the more tailored methodology that might be needed to get implemented. To summarize, we went over project value delivery components and concepts, a quick overview of the ethical principles. We discussed the different lifecycle methodologies, the 3 main ones being the traditional, agile, and hybrid. We went over project tailoring and stakeholder expectations, which is modifying existing methodologies or implementing new ones to fit the project's needs. Project planning and initiation, why and how projects start. We discussed work metrics, team dynamics, and schedule development, which are metrics used to measure the progress of the project, the team culture, and the creation of the project schedule. We went over the project budget development, how to allocate resources and time wisely, risk assessment and complexity, how to assess risk and measure complexity to determine feasibility, and then choose the best project lifecycle methodology.